Let's listen
so that we may see the world
fully.
NPR Morning Edition.
Tune in on your local station.
KPBS sponsorship is more powerful than ever with 4 channels featuring award-winning programs. KPBS, KPBS 2, KPBS Kids, and KPBS Create. Reach the KPBS audience and support great programs on KPBS. Become a sponsor today.
This is a really delicious plate of food.
That smells good.
We want something that's gonna be beautiful. Good luck.
If I'm not cooking for you, I don't love you. That salmon fire. I'm coming. Tiffany's en route.
Watch live or stream Monday at 9 on KPBS.
You're watching KPBS.
To raise funds, Gloria is backing a proposed property tax on the November ballot that would cost the average household about $20 per month. Katie Heisen, KPBS News.
Well, looking ahead to tonight, we're dropping down to a low 62, and well, a very similar story to what we have been experiencing over these last few nights. We are going to be expecting low clouds, especially near the coast. Could cause some rough travel there if you are going to be out late or even early, though we are tracking some heat. We'll tell you where that heat is and where areas will remain on the cooler side coming up.
The San Diego City Council's approved budget includes additional funding for traffic safety improvements. And yesterday, the City Council agreed to put an extra $785,000 toward efforts to eliminate traffic deaths. Advocates are hopeful transportation officials will spend that funding on improvements to the city's 15 deadliest intersections. And some of those projects are already earmarked for funding, while others are still under construction.
We hope that the Transportation Department just recognizes where that advocacy came from, and I would hope that they would consider the tiers of the survivors at those intersections as they prioritize where to spend those funds.
Moore says projects like high visibility crosswalks would cost about $100,000 per intersection. Mayor Gloria today announced his pick for San Diego's next fire chief. Deputy San Diego Fire Rescue Department Chief Robert Logan is a lifelong San Diegan with 24 years of experience.
To my fire department family, I promise to lead with integrity, fairness, and equity. Together, we will confront challenges with resilience, embrace opportunity with enthusiasm, and continue to uphold a noble legacy of our profession.
The appointment follows a 3-month search and is pending City Council approval in July. Logan is expected to take over for retiring Fire Rescue Chief Colin Stoll in August. We're only a couple of months into California's fire season, and our state has already been hit hard. According to CalFire, more than 40,000 acres have burned so far this year. Lauren Toms has a look at the intense training that firefighters are undergoing to prepare.
Soaring hundreds of feet above flames, firefighters are gearing up with tactical equipment like these night vision goggles, learning how to battle fires well into the night. The operation has been carefully crafted by Chief Brian Renner, who's paired his passion for flying with his skill of fighting fires to create the largest scale aerial exercise at night that CAL FIRE has conducted to date.
I've got a helicopter background, and I just feel that the job that I have and the role that we play as helicopter operations really makes a difference and helps support the folks on the ground.
CAL FIRE acquired a fleet of helicopters, including Chinook helicopters, that will be deployed this summer to keep firefights going under the moonlight. We're just at the start of fire season, but the agency says they've already seen over 40,000 acres burned this year.
Typically at night, the winds start to subside. The temperatures go down, the humidity goes up, and when the ground firefighters are still actively engaged in the fire and they have water-dropping helicopters, we're there to help support them and their structure defense and their perimeter control.
When the sun goes down at a CAL FIRE base just north of Sacramento, that's when these crews deploy. They use lights on hillsides as mock fire perimeters. Renner says when a real blaze sparks up, this training will help air teams learn how to fly together and work well with ground crews.
And it really allows everybody to get on the same page. We train for one standard. That way when we get out on an incident, the expectations are met with good communication.
It's a standard that can only come from someone with his level of knowledge from the ground and from the air.
Being a helicopter guy, we really love being able to support the folks on the ground. It's very rewarding, it's very challenging, and it's something that I'm really passionate about, and I like to see us make a difference out there, and I know that we do.
Seeing a problem from a different perspective, gaining ground and air to fight fires from above.
I'm Jeff Bennett. Tonight on the NewsHour, a massive Hezbollah barrage from Lebanon into Israel increases fears about war in the north. That's at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
Members of San Diego's LGBTQ community are meeting with representatives of more than 25 different law enforcement agencies tonight. And KPBS reporter John Carroll is live in Hillcrest with more on what is expected to be discussed tonight. John.
Maya, we are on University Avenue just across from the Pride flag to let you know exactly where we are. And one topic sure to get plenty of attention tonight is the still unsolved series of pellet gun shootings that happened several weeks ago outside several San Diego gay bars, including Rich's. Now, as far as tonight goes, this is the 6th annual LGBTQ Law Enforcement Summit. Earlier today, I spoke with San Diego FBI Public Affairs Officer Kira Boyd. She says the main goal of her agency is to make sure people feel comfortable reaching out to them.
They should feel comfortable reporting to us and talking to us. We don't care how small the threat may seem. We want you to report it because you never know. It may lead to something bigger.
I also spoke with the executive director of the Hillcrest Business Association, Ben Nichols. He says the relationship between the LGBTQ community and San Diego police is good, and he says new police chief Scott Wall has personally reached out to him to discuss matters of concern to the community. He says tonight he wants law enforcement to listen and then take action.
Well, what are the concrete steps that you're taking during this Pride season, but all year? All throughout the year, because a lot of people focus on challenges in the community during Pride, but these kind of things are happening all the time.
Here we have one more. Now, as most of you probably know, we're in the middle of Pride Month, and San Diego's Pride Parade and Festival is still a few weeks away, the weekend of July 20th. As for the summit, it gets underway at 6 tonight, just down the street from here at Rich's Nightclub. Live in Hillcrest, John Carroll, KPBS News.
And for most graduating seniors, their big day is filled with excitement and a look forward to the future. But at Newton High School in Connecticut, the class of 2024 is unique. Many of them went to Sandy Hook Elementary School and are survivors of the mass shooting that happened there more than 11 years ago. Laura Aguirre brings us some of their stories.
We just heard popping and popping. A guy armed came into my classroom and started shooting all of my friends and my teachers and my classmates. His gun had been jammed, and a friend of mine had yelled at us to run, and that's what we did.
Survivors of the mass shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School are high school seniors today, graduating from Newtown High School in Connecticut. They were first graders in 2012 when 20 of their classmates were killed, along with 6 faculty members. To date, it's the deadliest K-12 school shooting in U.S. history.
Our memories of elementary school are weirdly empty, we've blocked out massive parts of it.
Still, difficult memories and emotions remain.
When we lined up by grade, half of our grade was missing, so that was really hard.
Many have found healing in the years since, balancing celebration with remembrance at this important milestone.
This is such a monumental day, and we all can feel what we've lost and, the people and the friends that we're missing.
The class of 2024 will wear green ribbons and bracelets with the message "Forever in Our Hearts."
We all are carrying their memory through us and making sure that they're walking the stage right there with us.
Grace Fisher and several fellow survivors are part of the Junior Newtown Action Alliance, sharing their experience with lawmakers in a quest to change the nation's gun laws.
I feel like it's my purpose to continue my life in honor of them.
I'm Laura Aguirre for KPBS News.
When describing the experiences of the class of 2024, normal is not an option. In 2020, they lost their high school graduations and freshman years to the COVID pandemic, and now, as they graduate, campuses are consumed with the war in Gaza. KPBS student reporter Katerina Portela spoke to UC San Diego seniors about their unique journey.
UCSD senior Destiny Okoronkwo started worrying in early May. Protests against the war in Gaza had been building on campuses across the country for months. Then, she got a call from her brother, a student at USC. He told her USC's main graduation had just been canceled because of the protest encampment on that campus.
So as soon as I heard that, I called him. I was like, how could they do that? Especially as someone who didn't have a high school graduation, because I was class of 2020, I was a bit fearful that they would take away our grad. Because I was like, damn, not again.
A week later, UCSD canceled its popular Sun God Music Festival. At this point, UCSD senior Jenny Toe was sharing Okoronkwo's fear.
It would have been a shame just because, it for a lot of us, for a lot of the class of 2024, it would have been our first time walking on a stage, because 4 years ago it was kind of the height of the pandemic. So a lot of us didn't really get to graduate high school either.
In May, UCSD became a hotspot for protests and demonstrations. Some students marched with signs on campus and in front of the chancellor's home. They also spoke out on social media and participated in a large on-campus encampment. On May 6, police shut down the encampment and made a number of arrests. Despite the unrest, graduation ceremonies will be held this weekend, albeit under tight security. But all the turmoil has left Toe feeling ambivalent, especially because the university might not allow some students involved in the encampment to walk at graduation.
This is just me, but I think the whole situation has made me a little bit apathetic towards graduating in the first place. I think any source of maximal pride that a student could feel going through that type of ceremony, it's definitely been dampened by the events of the past month and the months before it.
In a statement to KPBS, a UCSD spokesperson defended the university's actions against protesters. The statement said the encampment violated campus policy and the law and grew to pose unacceptable risk to the safety of the campus community. Everyone on campus has been impacted by the protests and the university's response. even in the classroom.
And I was in class, I could hear them like walking around, chanting, doing that whole sort of thing. And I feel like since then, the protests have been like pretty consistent on social media. I always see like flyers talking about like when the new protests are, like what times, like when everyone is meeting.
Okoronkwo added that professors broached the topic of demonstrations on campus differently. Some encouraged students to demonstrate, others allowed discussions in class, and some acted like nothing was happening.
I had a few professors who were straight up like, hey guys, this big protest is happening. You guys should attend. Just very, supportive. And then I had other professors just like not mention it at all.
But through it all, To says she's noticed a sense of community that wasn't there before.
I think particularly this year, you see a huge, particularly undergrad movement where people are making the active choice to learn about what's happening on campus, because it's not always that you have a movement that provokes so much kind of conflict, violence, but also at the same time solidarity and kind of care for your peers.
Okoronkwo agreed, saying UCSD's campus environment has undergone a significant shift.
Honestly, especially because I started like UCSD during COVID, so the environment on campus was like very dead. And to be honest, being like a fourth year, just honestly like looking back at everything, I feel like I can understand when people call us like UC socially dead, because I feel like there really is no like school spirit. There's no like unity, no togetherness. It honestly changed like this past year, kind of seeing everyone like come together and stuff, which is great.
Now, To, Okoronkwo, and their peers are bidding farewell to their undergrad experience. One thing that they can say for sure, it won't be forgotten. Katerina Portela, KPBS News.
A record number of San Diegans are now receiving CalFresh benefits. According to the latest numbers, nearly 400,000 people are receiving benefits through California's Federal Food Assistance Program. The county's Health and Human Services Agency says officials used to be able to tie the spike to unemployment rates, but now they suspect another cause.
Our unemployment percentage is very low, 3 or 4% in the county. We should expect to see low requests for CalFresh. And we have not been able to figure out what's happening. I mean, with, rents being, $1,800, $2,000 a month, for a 1 or 2 bedroom. We can no longer tie it to the unemployment rate, but we do see the individuals coming in.
CalFresh is intended to increase access to fresh and healthy food by providing a financial supplement to eligible households. The county says it plans to host events throughout the month to help get the word out and help people enroll. A better than expected inflation reading and the latest on interest rates from the Federal Reserve. It's been a big day for economic news. But what does it mean for your household? Karen Kafa breaks it all down.
Just hours before the Federal Reserve gave its latest take on the state of the U.S. economy, new data showed inflation cooled more than expected in May.
If you've been rooting for the Fed to start cutting interest rates, this latest inflation report is the kind of report we want to see. We just need to see more of it.
The Bureau of Labor Statistics said prices held flat month to month for the first time since July 2022. Overall, prices were up 3.3% over 1 year ago, slowing slightly from April's year-over-year rate. Still, Bankrate chief financial analyst Greg McBride says households are feeling a squeeze.
Nobody's walking out of the supermarket feeling like they got a bargain because prices are still much higher than they were 4 years ago. Even though they're not going up as fast as they were, that's little consolation to the households that are dealing with strained budgets.
Grocery prices were flat from last month, but still up 2.1% over last year. Gas prices, while still up 2% for the year, fell 3.6% during May. Good news for drivers, but raising questions about summer travel demand and whether inflation fatigue is influencing plans. The White House says lower inflation remains an economic priority.
We really need to keep working on bringing costs down. That's going to be our focus in terms of grocery, housing, gas prices, healthcare.
Other areas seeing a pullback in prices from April to May included apparel and new cars. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
It's one of the most common disorders in the world. The American Migraine Foundation estimates at least 39 million Americans live with migraines. And doctors say summer weather can trigger attacks. Mandy Gaither has more on how to manage and avoid heat-induced migraines.
High temperatures, changes in barometric pressure, intense sunlight, all can trigger symptoms for those with migraine disorder.
We absolutely know that there is a correlation. We don't always fully understand why.
Symptoms vary from person to person, but can include unbearable head pain, nausea, vomiting, sensitivity to light, noise, and/or smells. An attack can last from 4 hours to several days and can be triggered this time of year, says neurologist Dr. Rashmi Halker Singh with Mayo Clinic.
I think with changes in sunlight and the length of days, it can sometimes take people out of their normal routine and schedule. And people who live with migraine actually do much better with a typical routine.
To manage and potentially prevent an attack, Halker Singh says to remember the word SEEDS. The S stands for sleep. Sticking to a regular sleep schedule can help. E is for eating. Don't skip meals and make sure you stay hydrated while limiting caffeine. The next E is for exercise. Stay physically active. D is for diary. Keep track of what triggers an attack. And finally, the second S stands for stress management. Stress can be a trigger.
Sunglasses can make a big difference when we're thinking about being exposed to bright lights and that sunlight. All of that can really help.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Well, let's start you off with your weather headlines. What you need to know as we head throughout the rest of the week. Those inland areas stay warm, coastal areas stay cooler. That's what we've been typically tracking here over the last few days, so the pattern stays the same. And really the same as well with those early and late clouds, especially late at night and early in the morning, maybe even for your morning commute. Maybe running into some difficult travel there, but even some of those low clouds sneaking into those inland valleys, though we are hanging on to a gusty southwest wind during the afternoons across the deserts and the mountains. Now tonight, Oceanside, you're at 60 again, hanging on to those clouds. Borrego Springs, you're at 73, Mount Laguna at 60, though we do rise to 106 in the deserts there. Borrego Springs at 106, though staying cooler there along the coast, and those clouds hang on during the day. San Diego, you're at 70, Oceanside 73, but even Ramona up to the 80s. Now here along the coast, we are tracking some low clouds, and they may break a little bit there. You may be able to steal some peaks of sun, though 73 is on tap for Thursday. Friday, more of the same, though we'll see some brightening at least, which is the good news. Even some warmth even by Saturday. Then we do start to come down just slightly, but I would say overall a pretty mild pattern there. Now further inland, it's going to be hot, I would say, as we head into the start of the weekend. You're flirting with 90 there. Thankfully, though, you get the relief at night. Those lows dropping down to 58. So maybe if the heat's not your thing, just wait until the later hours. You'll start to feel that relief. Now heading towards the mountains, I mean, you're staying in the 70s there. Really not too bad, I would say, for this time of year. You'll even see plenty of sunshine, though you may run into some problems. Breezy maybe in the mountains there on Friday. Heads up for hikers. 74 on Saturday, but hey, I don't think it's a bad outlook. Then by Saturday across the deserts, that's when things really start to heat up. Very hot, dangerously hot, I would say, on Saturday, as that sun is going to be blazing. Thankfully, we are dropping down to the 70s. It is that time of year, but 112. Whew. Please take care of yourself in the heat. Drink plenty of water, take plenty of cooling breaks, and seek shade as well. For KPBS News, I'm meteorologist Bree Guy.
The San Diego County Fair kicks off its 20-day run at the Del Mar Fairgrounds today. KPBS North County reporter Alexander Wynn gives us the sights and the sounds of opening day.
2, 3. The fair is going retro this year, from Back to the Future to the classic hot rods.
It's like a culture thing in San Diego. Every year, you just have to come down and try it.
Opening day is a tradition for Brendan Posh, who's been coming every year for the past few years.
Oh, man. Opening day, that's where it just begins. It feels fresh, new, like you feel that energy. It feels just new.
The retro theme is evident throughout the fair. from the exhibits to the decor and even the roaming entertainers.
Pretty cool.
Maximus Nyssen seems to be getting a kick out of the outdated technology from the late 1900s, as the kids call it.
What is the best thing that you saw in the exhibits so far?
Probably this one, because I'm kind of confused how it is. I'm just interested in that.
But it's not all about the nostalgia at this year's fair. There are other offerings as well.
Every Saturday night in the Sound, it's got dancing, immersive lights, sound, music, all of that.
Let's not forget about the food. This is Chicken Charlie's Charlie Bogosian's new invention this year.
It's a hot dog on a stick, dipped in funnel cake batter, topped with maple syrup and powdered sugar.
And there are new food offerings as well, like this oyster stand.
Hey, I'm here with Zach Sawyers, the owner of Steezy Oyster House. Now, this is the first time you're at the San Diego County Fair, right?
Yes, first time we got invited out. We love the weather, and we're so happy to be here.
All right. I know you see we have a bunch of oysters in front of us. What are they?
We have some garlic parmesan oysters. We have some lemon tapatio. Pesto's one of our favorite, and we also got this bad boy right here, the octopus on a stick. That's definitely new this year. We're gonna have a lot of fun with that one.
And obviously, there's so many ways to eat an oyster. There's grilled, there's on the half shell. Yep. In your opinion, what's the best way to eat an oyster?
My favorite way is barbecuing them, for sure. We eat them raw, I love that, but out here on a nice day, barbecuing's the best way to do it.
All right, we have some right here. Let's try one.
Let's get in, dig in.
Good.
Oh, yeah.
And after a long day of food, games, and rides, you can come and relax here.
Welcome to Destination Unknown. Hope you guys can find us.
It's the fair speakeasy, but you gotta get an invitation first. Alexander Nguyen, KPBS News.
That's no fair. Alex gets all the fun. Well, here's a look at what we're working on for tomorrow in the KPBS newsroom. Former President Trump is set to meet with congressional Republicans to discuss policy plans for a possible second administration. NPR's Morning Edition will have more on what could be on the agenda. And KPBS Midday Edition is getting ready for the weekend with a preview of the best in local arts and culture. And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Well, thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Good night.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, and air restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Only in this remote water world can this spectacular natural wonder be seen. Eastern Venezuela.